Hey, movie fans. So the first thing I want to discuss is that David Goyer was talking about how back when they did Man of Steel, he was producer on that movie. He also wrote the movie. He also wrote the Dark Knight trilogy and the Blade trilogy. But he was saying how, you know, Warner Bros. Was rushing to compete with the MCU. Putting out Batman v Superman was a mistake. They should have done a solo Superman movie. It was something how they were constantly having people go in and out when it came to who was in charge of the DC films, and they like how they didn't have really a strong house to build on. And I agree, it's everything that we know as DCU fans. Like DCU, it never came together, in my opinion. It felt like the Fox universe. It felt like a bunch of movies that barely connect. Never felt like a DC universe, and I don't think they had a strong start to the universe. I don't dislike Man of Steel. I don't love it either. But when that movie came out, it was a very divided response. I mean, I think it has like a 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's literally split down in the middle when it came to reviews for that movie. People either love that movie to death or hate it. And for me, it's like Returns, where there are things I like about it, things I didn't like about it. But it just didn't fully connect with people like the first Iron Man did. When the first Iron Man came out, it was beloved. People were excited to see the MCU. People fell in love with Tony Stark as a character. And then yet Batman v Superman was got slammed review wise and it made over 800. It still made money, but the biggest hits when it came to critically and financially was the first Wonder Woman and the first Aquaman. I mean, an Aquaman movie made $1 billion. That made more money than a movie with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman together in film for the first time. Now, obviously, this would be different if Man of Steel got great reviews like the first Iron Man, and Batman v Superman was really well received. Then it would be a different way now. But I do agree with David Goyer where it just felt like DC never had a plan. It felt like they were trying to rush to get to like the Avengers level, where they're trying to put all these characters right away together without establishing any of these characters. I think another Solo Superman movie would have helped because, again, Man of Steel did not get the type of response they were hoping. It didn't get terrible reviews, but it also didn't get great reviews. It was very a divisive movie. And the movie made over 600, but I remember that movie and Batman v Superman both had big openings, and both movies dropped off in the second week of the box office. And I know one of the issues people have had with the DCU was that people never really connected to the characters like they did with the MCU. Like when Tony Stark died, people felt it. You were like, "Oh man, we're gonna miss that character." A great example is this: when Superman died in Batman v Superman, I felt nothing, and I'm one of the biggest Superman fans. And you compare it to, let's say, you go watch the original Superman movie when you see Chris Reeves Superman scream when Lois dies at the end of that movie, you feel that. When you like one of the reasons why I love my adventures with Superman the animated series, or why I love the current Superman live action Lois show, is that they made sure to not lose the humanity of the character. I think that's one of the items with the DCU is at times I feel like they focus so much on the power side of the characters and the God side of the characters. So I agree with David Goyer with all these statements. Just look, the DCU. I love certain movies from that universe, but it's a universe that just like the Fox universe just felt like a bunch of movies. Like I said, it barely connected, and it just never came fully together for people. It didn't live up to its potential when it came to its box office at times. Critically, it was all over the place. I think at times also when it came to trying to do the dark gritty tone at the beginning, it felt like they were just doing that just to be different with the MCU, but without having some great stories though. Because I do like Man of Steel, and like how I feel about Superman Returns, which wasn't connected, was that they kind of lacked a sense of joy. I'm not saying I don't make it clear. I'm not saying I want it to be like overly comedic like Superman 3 or 4, or like how Thor Love and Thunder was, where it was just overdoing it with the comedy. Because there's times when the MCU overdoes it with the comedy, but it just felt like they just didn't have a great handle on the characters at times. It just really felt like they just didn't know what they were doing. And it did feel like they had multiple voices come in, where it just seemed like they never had a single person in charge, like the Kevin Feige of the MCU. So I think it's a bunch of reasons why DCU just never clicked. And I think this is another example why I don't see how you as a fan cannot say they need a reboot. Because you can look, I can love certain films from that era, but I can admit as a fan, it didn't connect to people like the MCU did. Like, well, and the characters just didn't connect like the MCU characters did. When it came to the Infinity Saga. So I agree with everything David Goyer was saying about, Warner Brothers was trying to compete the MCU, about Boundary Superman was a mistake, about rushing everything. Like I agree with all of his comments, and I think I'm excited personally for the new DC universe to have somebody in charge. The DC have its own studio now, and to really feel like we have a voice now, somebody that actually has passion towards the characters. The next thing I want to talk about is so the Marvel's budget is actually 219, and obviously Captain Marketing is going to be over that. I don't understand why the Marvels. So my report about it being 130 that wasn't true. The report is saying now it is over 200. Again, these movies costing 200 plus. I don't get that. I feel like the Marvels you could easily make 100 something. I don't know why it needs to cost like 200 plus. I mean, I think it was saying. I mean, I know maybe I think I heard we went through some reshoots. But it's just the budgets for some of these movies are getting so out of control right now with some of these bigger movies. I'm just like, you have like movies costing like 200 or 300. Some of these bigger movies, and I just don't get it. So I just wanted to correct my report that it's budget for the Marvels is 219, so that does make more sense. But I think it's ridiculous. This movie costs that much. The next thing I want to talk about is there's an article saying that the studio heads are going to give the WBGA a final deal. So it sounds like the writers' strike and actors' strike could be ending soon. I really hope it does because I really don't want to see any movies get pushed into next year or delayed. And I want to see, hopefully they get, they work out a deal with this meeting that can work out for the actors and writers, for everybody. Because, like I said in my past videos, I think writers and actors do deserve to get paid better front. I do think they deserve to get better health benefits, insurance, and all that. The residuals is one thing I'm kind of like, I don't know if I agree with this. They constantly get residuals for like something they did. But I do agree with everything else when it comes to writers and actors. And then it comes with testing against AI, I get that too. So I just, as a movie fan, and also I hope this ends soon too, because I really do think one of the things that's kind of like missing from when it comes to promotion for movies is the actors. Because not everybody goes online and watches trailers online like I do. Like I'm a hardcore movie fan, and you can't, there's a lot of people that don't go online and know when a trailer's coming out. So I think having to actors promote these movies is kind of like having them not promote the movies is hurting the box office for some of these movies a little bit. Where it's like, I'm not saying that's a big thing, but I do think that's one of the big things. Where I think when we see actors on talk shows, or you have actors going out there talking to like in interviews about the movies coming out, it does like help build up the hype for a movie. So I really hope that these strikes end soon and they get a good deal that works out for both the actors and writers and everybody. Next thing I want to talk about is the creators' first reactions came out, and they sound like it's calling it one of the best movies, one of the best original sci-fi movies. And I really hope it's true because I'm really excited for the creator. I think the director, he did Rogue One, which I love. He did Godzilla, which I love. And he did a movie called Monsters, his first movie, which I've never seen. But calling it, like I said, one of the best sci-fi movies, one of the best movies this year. And I really hope it lives up to the hype because this is a movie I'm most anticipated for in this month. Is The Creator, and the thing that sucks that I don't think a lot of people are going to see this. Even if it gets good reviews, whether it gets good reviews, bad reviews, whatever, I just don't think a lot of people are going to see it. Now, I did hear the buzzer for it isn't like one of those high buzzes. I think it's below 100. I'm not sure on that, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard the buzzer isn't like really high for this, which is good, but I just don't see this. I just don't see anybody really excited for this movie. Like, I can't wait for it, and I hope it's great. But I just don't see this movie doing well at the box office. But I'm glad to hear the reactions are like mostly positive. That makes me like I was always excited for this movie, and this just makes me more excited. So that's all the movie news today. Until next time, movie fans.